I have a lot of Scooby-Doo tapes. Yeah, just check these out. Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers, Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters. Frankly, there are so many of these tapes, I'm surprised there isn't one where Scooby-Doo meets me. But with this many tapes, you're probably thinking, wow, he must be a really big Scooby-Doo fan. Well, it's complicated. Like, growing up I watched the show a lot, sure, but I was never hugely into it because the plot of every episode was pretty much the same. Scooby-Doo and the gang arrive on the scene, there's a big monster running around, and it's always just someone in a mask. Every single time. And for a kid with an overactive imagination like mine, that wasn't good enough. I wanted real monsters, real creatures, huge beasts that could pick you up and swallow you in one gulp. Well, luckily for me, that's why the Scooby-Doo movies were made. Each one was a full-length mystery featuring real monsters for the gang to contend with, and in 1998, Warner Brothers released probably the most famous one of them all, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. They used to show this movie all the time on Cartoon Network, and when I got the VHS one October in the early 2000s, it became my childhood Halloween movie. Every Halloween it was always the same. Pack of biscuits, glass of milk, watch Zombie Island. Bliss. Well, it might not be Halloween, but I know you guys get a sick thrill out of watching my nostalgia trips, so let's take another look at Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. The tape starts off with that classic trailer Shiloh 2, so time to hit the fast forward button already. Next up though is a trailer for The Iron Giant, one of the all-time classic animated films.
So, I guess you're not gonna hurt me, huh? This is unbelievable. This is the greatest discovery since television or something. Hey, big metal guy! I got food here for you!
I wish I could say that I was suckered in by the promise of a classic tale of friendship and deep emotional nuances, but I just thought the giant robot looked cool.
Warner Brothers Family Entertainment presents...
Oh, God.
The story of a young boy...
Look out for the boss!
And a giant from another world...
You can fly?
who became a hero on this one.
Still, this movie became an instant favourite for me. The last item before the movie is an advert for the Cartoon Network comic, and oh, the pain.
Hey, you can see him on video. Now see him in the Cartoon Network comic. It's jam-packed with all your top toon favorites. Johnny Bravo, Dexter, the Crazy Cow and Chicken, and Courage the Cowardly Dog. Plus there's more, much more.
Oh, mama. Yeah, I used to pick this magazine up pretty much every Friday after school, and it really was jam-packed with all the cartoon action you could ask for. I still laugh at all the free gifts that used to come with the issues of these kids' magazines. Like, look at that cheap tech deck toy. Hours of fun back then, honestly. Actually, one annoying thing is that kids always used to send in their drawings, and you'd win a prize if you got your drawing featured in the magazine. Well, I must have sent in about 100 drawings back then, and they never printed a single one.
Cartoon Network comic. It's everything a toon maniac could dream of. Available at all good supermarkets and newsagents.
Okay, so it's time for the main event. It certainly has an atmospheric start with this haunted house in the middle of a storm, where Scooby-Doo and the gang are being chased by, what else? A giant monster. Yes, it seems just like your average episode of Scooby-Doo, with the monster being another man in a mask.
Like, it's Mr. Beeman, the real estate agent.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that big dog and you meddling kids.
But it turns out that this is all just a flashback, and that Mystery Inc. have gone their separate ways, giving the characters a bit more maturity. Daphne has now smartened up and become a TV show host instead of a damsel in distress. Fred has traded in his ascot for a snazzy new jacket. Velma is selling Goosebumps books for a living, and Scooby and Shaggy are airport security guards? Does that mean these two are responsible for finding drugs in people's luggage and stuff?
Pretty sneaky, but they can't fool your nose.
That's right.
Like no one brings contraband food into our country with us on the job.
I guess that'll teach people to typecast Shaggy. Of course, the boys get themselves fired by eating their own weight in contraband, but luckily, Daphne and Fred have decided to reform the gang so she can film a new segment of her show about haunted locations in Louisiana. A box of Scooby snacks quickly convinces the pair to come along for the spooky ride.
Scooby snacks!
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
What is it about Scooby snacks anyway? Why are they so addictive? What do they taste like? I always thought they were like peanuts or something. You can never stop eating those. Actually, I think this movie just has a thing for food, because everyone's scoffing. Sandwiches, cakes, peppers. This whole movie makes me peckish. I don't even like spicy food and I feel like eating one of those peppers. Anyway, while everyone's stuffing their face, they're approached by a woman named Lena, who works on the remote Moonscar Island, which is apparently haunted by all kinds of ghosts and zombies.
A pirate named Morgan Moonscar died on the island, and his spirit still haunts the place.
Sounds like a likely story to me. She convinces the gang to come along for a ride, but first they have to board a ferry to reach the island, which is run by this old guy called Jacques, who has quite a thick southern accent. What's he saying? You tell me.
I'm trying, son, but shit don't turn on no dime.
So obviously it wouldn't be Scooby-Doo without some cartoon antics, and Scooby gets into some trouble when he's launched off the ferry and ends up on another boat run by a man called Snakebite Scroggs, a shy, retiring sort of fellow looking to spread nothing but joy.
Should've let the gators eat you. I can't stand tourists.
A grumpy hunter voiced by Mark Hamill who owns an angry hunting pig. Yeah, he doesn't look suspicious at all. When the gang make it past Snake Boy, Lena introduces them to the owner of the haunted house, Simone, a haughty woman who despises dogs and has quite the obsession with cats.
Who brought this dog?
Rug? Where?
She invites the gang in for a meal before they go out to eat, and that's when we get our first haunting, where the writing is quite literally on the wall.
You can feel the chill in the air. Cut! Who opened a window?
In fact, there's even a levitation as well, sparking all kinds of theories as to who's behind this one.
We've been levitated before, and there's always a magnet or wires somewhere.
No wires here, Fred.
It's fun how the film actually plays with the usual Scooby-Doo conventions here, where the gang are finally confronted with something supernatural and struggle to make sense of it. It's a neat subversion of the typical formula.
There's always a logical explanation for these things.
Things get even weirder when Scooby's animal instincts land him and Shaggy in hot water, or, to be more specific, a giant hole in the ground. And we got our first taste of a real live zombie, an infamous pirate known as Morgan Moonscar. Wow, this is quite grotesque. I think it's scenes like this that ruined old Scooby-Doo for me. How can you go back to monsters in costumes after this? Scooby and Shaggy manage to escape, but they run into Bo, the grouchy local gardener, who shows no signs of suspicious behavior whatsoever.
I'll take care of you, gardener.
Of course the gang thinks he's another suspect, but they have to let him go because it's time for everyone to chow down once again.
This gumbo is delicious.
Goodness me, I couldn't eat another bite by this point. That night, more zombies are on the prowl, and everyone has to split up to search for clues. Velma gets stuck with Bo, who looks like he's about to smash her over the head with a rock, only it turns out he's warning her about some quicksand. There's a way to make your point.
Quicksand.
Jinkies. Thanks.
And you know, I actually thought quicksand worked like that because of this movie. One wrong move and you just get sucked under the earth. I can't believe a movie would lie to me like that. Meanwhile, Fred and Daphne snag a zombie, and we get a delightful scene where Fred tries to pull its mask off.
The gardener.
No.
It's the fisherman.
No.
It's the ferryman.
Oh.
Maybe it's real.
This is the kind of family entertainment I can get behind. Finally, after years of unmasking small-time crooks who like to play dress-up, we get real live monsters. They even have their own zombie theme song.
And it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again. And you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
Yeah, this is everyone's favourite bit, isn't it? Dating back to its inception in the 1960s, most episodes of Scooby-Doo usually feature some kind of contemporary music piece, and this catchy number was performed by Sky Cycle, a short-lived rock band that sadly didn't last beyond 2002. Still, they'll always be remembered for providing one of the coolest songs ever to grace the Scooby-Doo franchise.
And it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night.
So if you're ever being chased by a zombie one day, just play this song in your head and you'll get away from them twice as fast. Back to the story, the gang managed to evade the zombies by splitting one of them in half, that explains the PG rating, and they make it back to Simone's house, but Lena reveals that Simone has been kidnapped, and the zombies have dragged her into a secret passageway under the stairs.
You say the zombies dragged Simone away? Yes! It was horrible!
But of course, it's a trap, and it turns out that Simone and Lena are actually giant cat creatures who want to drain their life force so they can live forever.
Every harvest moon, I must drain the life force from victims lured to my island to preserve my immortality.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. This is pretty freaky stuff. Apparently, the girls were once humble peasants who were attacked by Moonscar and his pirates centuries ago, and they were forced to watch as all of their friends and family were eaten alive by hungry crocodiles. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! In order to get revenge, they prayed to some cat gods for magic powers, and turned into ferocious felines who ripped the pirates to shreds. But immortality comes with a catch, and every harvest moon, the cat girls have to lure people onto the island so they can suckle the life juices out of them. So that means the zombies aren't the bad guys after all, and they've just been trying to warn the gang this whole time. It's even revealed that Bo is just an undercover cop trying to crack the case. And wait, so does that mean Snakebite Scroggs is actually innocent? Huh, I guess you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Like, I feel bad now. Maybe this guy runs an orphanage for puppies or something.
They must be drained now, while the moonlight is in the midnight alignment.
It looks like time is up for most of the gang, but Scooby and Shaggy are still out there, and they try to escape from the island. Oh look, it's that nice old man who drives the ferry. Surely he will save us. Wow, no one's safe on this island. Scooby and Shaggy bungle their way into the cat creature's lair, but the cats go full Super Saiyan on them and start draining their life force. Luckily, with Bo's help, the gang managed to break free, and time runs out on the cat girls, causing them to decay into rotting skeletons.
Looks like your 9 lives are up!
Aw, such a sweet movie. So the zombies can rest in peace, the island is finally safe again, and everyone lives happily ever after. Well, except for Scooby, who now has to put up with a bunch of cats for the rest of his life.
Raggy. Rats. Rikes.
Well, at least it's not Scrappy-Doo. We can take some comfort in that.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
But there you have it, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. As far as Scooby-Doo goes, this is probably as good as it gets. It plays around with a lot of the show's tropes in a fun way, the animation is atmospheric, there's some great music, and it's easy to see why it was such a good Halloween movie for me as a kid. It's great fun if you're in the mood for it. Still, with so many of these Scooby-Doo movies in my video collection, I'm sure it's just a matter of time before I pick out another one to review. Thanks for watching this video, and look out for more VHS tapes coming Scooby-Dooby soon. Are you enjoying the series? Do you have any thoughts? What tapes would you like to see covered next? Let me know in the comments. Remember, you can vote for upcoming episodes in the community tab, and please like and subscribe to the Back to the Past YouTube channel for more outdated content coming soon.